Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Rosie here, and today is going to be the partner video to the video I made the other day about Hexy's rule set and True's proposed rule set and all that shit. So before we get into this real fast, this is an introduction. I actually have another version of this video on my channel. It's from a long time ago, so it's quite rough, and it's not. It's quite a rough rule set. Now, to be fair, it's still better than a lot of the rule sets that have actually been used, but there's some shit that is outdated, and it's bleh. It's bleh. The old video is bleh. I'll leave it up just for history if you want to see old Rosie before I got mad at the game. But this is the new rule set, given everything that we know now. So now that we have additional experience at the game, we are definitely going to be coming at this from a much cleaner, much more solid direction. Okay? And before we get into this, map RNG does need to go. If you want to have the best possible DBD tournament experience, you got to get rid of map RNG. Identity V does not use map RNG. And we shouldn't either. No, Resident Evil Resistance didn't use map RNG. It's never been used. It's gotta go. I acknowledge that. But since other tournaments have been done before, this is just not a valid topic. That's not valid to me. It's not valid to me that you say, "Whoa, map RNG's in the game," because that doesn't stop everybody. So this is still a valid topic. And then, if you want to know, this is not all entirely original. Identity V's Call of the Abyss rule set is the basis and the foundation here. I think it's the best possible rule set you can use, with the only con being that it has long sets. Okay, so let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. What is Rosie's Dead by Daylight tournament rule set? Okay, now again, this is a... Before we get in, I understand that this is a two-part video, two-part series, so I would want to again lay out some basic principles and basic problems with Hexy's best of the best rule set before we get into it. Okay, Hexy's best of the best rule set was garbage. It was just terrible. There are a lot of reasons that it was, which I go into in my other part, so if you want to see the other issues I have with it, go watch that video instead of this one. However, the main thing that we have to reiterate here is that scoring killers through a hook count is good on paper, bad in execution. Because if you score killers through a hook count, survivors have control over the hook count. Okay? If the killer starts winning the match, the survivors can just let themselves lose to avoid killers getting points. I've deemed it I'ma kill myself tech. Okay? If you want to watch I'ma kill myself tech in action, watch how Otz gets eliminated from Best of the Best in Losers Finals. It's not a very showy instance of I'ma kill myself tech working, but they realize that they're winning, and then they don't go in for the save to deny Oates points. That's basically how it works. So again, there's other issues. If you'd like to, you can comment or go watch the other video if you want me to elaborate on this. But basically the main point here is there is a direct relationship between the things that they're trying to limit by using a hook counter. Okay? By using a hook counter, you're trying to limit camping and slugging. That's what you're trying to do inherently. Okay? And camping and slugging versus killing yourself to win the match, one of those things is worse than the others. And I think the instance of killing yourself to actually win the game, I think is bullshit. Okay? And that's why you cannot use a hook counter rule set. You have to just base it off the kills and escapes. You cannot use a hook counter rule set because it lets the survivors kill themselves in advantage state to win when they're already winning. They don't have to win the match further again to secure their win. They can just let themselves lose but deny the killer points through the exploitation of the hook count. That's the main issue with the hook count rule set. And I disagree with any rule set that uses a hook count to score killer, because survivors have way too much control over that. Okay? Now, moving on. Basic rules. Okay? Standard Dead by Daylight tournaments should consist of 16 teams of 5, each team 1 killer, 4 survivors, okay? And then one thing we specify here is that substitutions can be made, like if you want to swap out who's doing what. This is the only major requirement that all 5 players are playing each round. I think that's fair. So, best of 3 sets with winners finals, losers finals, and grand finals being a best of 5. This is all standard tournament shit. If the people coming up from losers want to win the whole tournament, they have to beat the winner side twice. This is all standard tournament stuff. Okay, that's a very, very, very standard bracket. Again, we can do standard brackets in Dead by Daylight, guys. We can. Okay, so basically, in one round of each set consists of 2 matches. Team A Killer versus Team B Survivors, and Team B Killer versus Team A Survivors. This entire thing right here was in Texie's entire thing for best of the best. Like, these 2 matches would be the only way you got scored, and that was it. Okay? If you're going to have map RNG in the game, okay, that's one thing. If you want to have map RNG in the game, and even without map RNG, I still think this is the way to go. Fluke wins can happen. Just one game, especially in Dead by Daylight, where the survivors can just win or lose in one exchange. One game is a very, very ill-advised way to actually capture the superior skill. That's why you have to do it in sets. And even with map RNG, it's even worse because you have to like make sure the you have to fucking get as many games as you can, because if the less games that you have, the more luck is a factor in determining what map RNG you get, and the more of a role luck plays in screwing you. So that's why you have, if you're gonna have map RNG, you have to do more than one match. So at the end of both matches, the points will be tallied to determine who is winning, and then that losing team gets a counter pick. Okay, so let's move on. How are points tallied? Okay, this is very, very simple, and I don't know why the community feels the need to make this so hard. Every survivor that escapes earns 1 point for their team. 4-mans are worth 5. The killer earns 1 point for each survivor killed. 4Ks are worth 5. So the process is repeated for 3 rounds. Here's the example scenario so you can visualize it. Okay, round 1. Team A Killer kills 2 Team B survivors. The score is 2-2. Team B Killer, then 4Ks, 7-2 is the score for round 1. Round 2. Team A Killer kills 3 Team B survivors, 5-8. Team B Killer kills 2 Team A survivors, 7-10. That's your hypothetical scenario. And I'll link this document in the description if you think we're going too fast. You can take a look at it. Upon the completion of round 2 in this hypothetical situation, Team B still has a narrow lead. However, if Team A plays well in round 3, they can still win. So round 3 will get played. So round 3 is going to end up getting played most of the time, because the only way it doesn't get played is if there's a 10-plus point lead. So it's very likely that you're going to see 6 matches get played for each round, for each match. Map selection, okay? Now, if you remember from Hexy's, his map selection was RNG, and I disagree with that. There's too much of an element of strategy you could potentially have to just make RNG be the determining cause for maps, okay? Here we go. Map selection varies upon the round. The same map gets played for both matches. And again, that would really be a much better rule once RNG is not in the game. Prior to each match, the killers of each team will meet and play rock, paper, scissors. This is the standard. This is how Smash picks their stages. The winning killer gets to pick which map is played on. The losing killer will ban 3 maps from the starting map section listed below. Okay, so let's go ahead and skip to that section real fast. Okay, these are the starting maps. So basically, the killers meet, they play rock, paper, scissors. The winning killer gets to pick which map is played on. But the losing killer goes, okay, I ban Suffocation Pit, Wrecker's Yard, and Grim Pantry. Killer bans those, so now you have to look at those maps and pick one from the ones that he didn't ban. This is very, very simple, and anyone that's ever watched Smash knows how this works, because this is literally just ripping the process from Smash. Pretty much. Okay? And in round 2, the points will be tallied, and then the losing team will get to choose a counterpick map. The winning team gets 3 bans from both the starting maps and counterpick section, 3 total. So basically, how that works is they look at here are the counterpicks. So rolling round 2 beyond Hawkins, Azroz, Rancid Avatar, Gas Heaven, Temple, Rotten Fields, Ironworks, Family Residence, Dead Dog, blah, 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 blah. So the winning team can go, okay, we ban Pale Rose, Azra's Resting Place, and Temple of Purgation. So then those 3 maps can't be picked from. You get to choose from the rest. Very, 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 very simple. Okay, this is all very, very, very simple. I think that is the most shocking thing about my rule set is how simple it is. Because everyone wants to overcomplicate Dead by Daylight tournaments and make scoring just so complex. All this shit has to be so complex. It's really not that hard. It's really not that hard. And if you just look at any other scene, it's so easy to see how to do this. And then round 3 is the same instead for 4 and 5. And then here's basically the element of strategy that's involved. You have to pick the maps carefully. Because I decided we have some ban maps here for balance issues, but I didn't ban every map that has a balance issue on it. I didn't ban everyone. I didn't ban notable exceptions. I didn't ban Hawkins, which is a notoriously killer favorite map. And I didn't ban Ironworks of Misery. I didn't ban Rotten Fields. I didn't ban some of these maps that are bad. I didn't ban the Family Residence, which is also a bad map. I didn't ban every bad map in the game. So if you pick a map due to a balance discrepancy, your team is going to be playing the weaker role on that map as well. So do you try to make your team of survivors get really, really good at Hawkins to have an edge over the other team? Or do you train the killer to be really, really good at Ironworks of Misery? There's an added level of strategy tier that I don't think is... I think there's such a huge strategical element in here that I think is just lost if you just say, we're going to go to a random number generator, and we're going to choose which map is going to be played on with a random number generator. There's just... some of the strategy is lost. And I really don't think RNG is how you should be picking the maps. There's too much potential strategy. Banned maps. So, of course, this game suffers from shit fucking garbage design that we all know. And these are the maps that I've deemed ineligible for tournament play due to massive survivor favorite balance issues. Haddonfield, Fractured Cowshed, Ormond, Gideon Meat Plant, Badham 1 through 5, Midwich, Larry's, Groaning Storehouse, Sanctum of Wrath, Disturbed Ward, Blood Lodge, Mother's Dwelling. I think these right here are the worst maps in Dead by Daylight. Survivors have way too much of a fucking advantage there. The only way to realistically play these maps is to run Nurse, Spirit, Freddy, the top tiers. Freddy about to get nerfed, so he'll be out of that soon. And then Nurse and Spirit will likely be banned a lot, especially early on. So, what are you gonna do? Walk around Myers on fucking Midwich? Get fucking real. So, yeah, these maps have a severe balance issue. Gideon Meat Plant, honestly, wasn't one I banned first. But just seeing all those God palettes, that's just not how we want to fucking play Dead by Daylight. Just a lot of bad design is what we took out. And these maps will stay banned until until an adjustment is given. And so we already went over these, so we'll skip that. Other bans. So in addition to the just maps, the maps are not the only thing that's straight up garbage design. There's some things that have to be just straight up banned. They're too powerful for standard tournament play, and they should also stay banned until proper adjustments are given. Keys, opening the hatch is busted. It's a busted effect that breaks the tournament play. The aura reveal just also is broken, turns into a mini object of possession. Just get rid of it. They're broken. They need banned. Okay, next, Moris. Okay, now, while it is true that the Moris just got absolutely fucked and they're barely good anymore, they still negate a DS, which is still a relevant effect. It can turn the game around. Killer gets the tunnel survivor with no risk. Just ban the Moris. They're still negating a DS is still bullshit, and that can still fucking turn the entire match around. Although the yellow one would be equipped every single match to end a 4K with style. Iridescent Head, we all know what this does. It's finally getting out. Might be fucking gone depending on when you're watching this, but it's bad. Myers Tombstone, these add-ons are basically just an unhealthy alternative win condition. Just ban them. Insidious. Insidious is a perk that is bad in standard matches. However, in tournament play, it would actually be really good. And the reason I say that is because if you're sitting there in round 3 and the killer only has to kill 2 survivors, and you just slap on Insidious Bubba, if you have to kill 1 survivor, if your entire win condition is to kill 1 survivor, slapping Insidious on Bubba is the easiest way to get that done. We don't need Insidious Bubba to ever win tournaments at top level. Because securing 1 or 2 kills is what this perk is good for. And that's that effect is really, really good in this rule set. So it's safer to just ban Insidious until it gets a rework. Because banning the Insidious would be broken in my tournament rule set, and I acknowledge that, so I would ban it. Next, Object of Obsession. Notorious perk that's getting removed from the game. Bad design, ban it. Nothing else to say about that. Brand new part. Ability to repair 15% of a generator. Immediately breaks the early game and can push the survivors right to where they need to be in order to gen rush the killer. This is too powerful. Banned from any serious rule set. Next, Septic Agent. The ability to trigger borrowed time within a chase is insanely broken. The game is fundamentally balanced around 2 hits. So adding a hit point even once is game breaking. This needs banned. I thought about banning the syringe too, but I said, you know what? Let's keep the syringe in. In this draft, if I ever find a group of people that want to run and test this rule set, I'll leave the syringe in. So let's go ahead and I went ahead and left that in. And the last thing I decided to ban was Noed. Noed's bannable because it steals games, and I think everyone knows that it steals games. You can say just cleanse, bro, but I still think we can provide enough reinforcement to make totems a part of the game without negatively making the game look stupid with a one-hit down perk at the end of the game. I just banned Noed. I don't even think Noed's that good. This was a last-minute decision, but I decided to just throw it in here and see what people thought. I just banned Noed. That's not how you really want to be winning games at top level. Next, okay, additional player bans. Another process that's going to take place in between rounds before the matches are the additional bans that the players get to make. While the map ban is chosen as a team unit and it applies to both matches, there are also bans that will take place before the start of each individual match. Okay? These bans only are good in the matches that set them up. So you'll see these bans take place every single game. So in round 2, the survivors get 1 ban and the killers get 2 bans. Round 3, survivors get 2 bans, killers get 3 bans. This is standard Identity V stuff. So here's just a basic example. Round 2, match 1, survivors ban the nurse. Team B killer bans Dead Hard and Prove Thyself. Round 3, match 2, Team B survivors ban Spirit. Team A killer bans Sprint Burst Adrenaline. There you go. That's how that works. So what can be banned? The better question is what can't be banned. Almost everything in the game can be banned. Killers ban characters, items, add-ons, or perks. Survivors can ban characters, add-ons, or perks. However, there are some exceptions. Okay, the unbannable. There's certain shit within this game that is integral to the balance to exist. Okay? If some of these perks were not allowed to be brought into matches, the game would cease to function and exploits to other issues could exist. As a result, there are some perks that are not allowed to be banned. See, this is the main difference between me and True Talent's rule set. Instead of forcing the killers to bring Hex Ruin and the survivors are not allowed to touch it, we just make some of this stuff not allowed to be banned, like forcing the survivors to bring DS. If you don't want to be optimal, you don't have to. You don't have to play optimally. You don't. It's your choice. If you want to try a gimmick in bracket, that's your choice. And if it fails, you're letting yourself and your team down anyway. So you don't have to you don't have to just force everybody to run shit. You just have to make it always available. Okay? So there are 6 unbannable perks in this game, 3 on each side. Unbannable survivor perks, DS, okay? Now before we keep going here, it's interesting to note that if DS wasn't getting a nerf, it would be banned. Okay, 60 seconds after unhook. This is too strong and would be banned from tournament play. And then there would be some other changes that you would have to make it work. Like DS would be banned along with hooking the same survivor twice in a row. Maybe a slug clause as well. But like, since DS is getting nerfed, all this shit's not necessary. So we're just gonna keep going and say that DS's future form is what we're analyzing here. And again, if DS has changed, I can see them pulling back on this change very easily. So if DS has changed to become too powerful again, it would just get banned along with some clauses to work around with it. So, but remember, in this rule set, tunneling is legal and not punished in any way. So you have to punish it yourself as a survivor. That's important. Because you don't want the killing yourself to be in the game. So, man, just for emphasis, this version of Decisive Strike is the unbannable one. The current version of the game of the perk would be banned. It's too strong. Next, Borrowed Time. Borrowed Time is a perk that allows the fair chance to win on Hook Survivor. It also has enough counterplay and bad matchups to where isn't unhealthy. It's fine. You cannot ban Borrowed Time. And then Unbreakable. Slugging. Slugging is a powerful thing killers have, and we're not punishing it at all in this rule set. Slugging is a way you can win the game. So Unbreakable's existence should always be in the game to check slugging and make sure it isn't too powerful. So you got your Unbreakable. Unbannable killer perks. Pop Goes the Weasel, a very necessary perk for controlling the speed of the generator completion. Hex Ruin, very necessary perk for controlling the speed of generator completion. These two do the same thing. If you were to remove either of these two perk options, like especially when you get 2 bans in round 3, if you remove either of these 2 options, you can just seriously limit what the killer has to do. And then the last one, Barbecue Chili. Very important information perk that is an anti-camping mechanism and helpful at deciding where to go next. This has counterplay, it's healthy meta perk, it can't be banned. So there's your 6 unbannables. You can't ban these perks because they help the game stay healthy. It's pure and simple. Next, the Exhaustion and Hex ban clause. Killers can only ban 1 exhaustion perk for a round. Adrenaline is not included. Adrenaline is not an exhaustion perk. An exhaustion perk, just because it gives you exhaustion, it's not an exhaustion perk. The exhaustion perks are things to help you in chase throughout the entire match. So there's 5 of them. There's Dead Hard, Sprint Burst, Lithe, Balance Landing, and Head On. You get 1 of those perks to be banned. You can only ban 1 per round. And additionally, survivors can only ban 1 hex perk per round. So if they ban Haunted Ground or Devour Hope, you can't ban 2 hex perks in the same round. That's not going to be that relevant, though. Item and character clause. Survivors are only allowed to bring 1 copy of a character and 1 copy of an item per match. So no 4 flashlights, no 4 medkits, no 4 toolboxes. You can't do that. You can only. We should probably ban maps too. Now that I think about it, I'm sitting here thinking about maps. You should probably ban maps too, just because they're not really standard. Oh well. You're only allowed to bring 1 copy of each item, so do what you will with that. I'm thinking about making an item, a more in-depth item system to make sure the survivors are not just bringing in like Commodious toolbox, purple flashlight. I'm thinking of limiting items in more, but I figure for this draft it'd be okay. In the event of ties, through this rule set, it's possible for a tie to take place in terms of the points. This has happened at Call of the Abyss 2, and the way that they handle it just makes me sick. They play a match, and then whoever wins the game faster is who wins. I don't like that. This is where we will take a closer look at the secondary objectives, okay? So, in the event of ties, 1 point gets added to the score per hook for the killers, and then 1 point's added per totem cleanse and the generator completed for survivors. The only issue I have with that is that killers can earn up to 12 extra points and survivors can earn up to 10. Now, I don't really know what else to do. Originally, it was just survivors got an additional points by cleansing totems. So if you have any idea about how to even that and make it 12 to 10, or maybe we could just do killers can earn up to 10 extra points through their hooks. I'm not sure about that. So this is the draft we're going with right now. And then the totems would work in theory, but the devs don't make this easy on us in terms of counting it. So that'd be kind of hard to test. So if we ever tested this, we would probably just score the killers and that's it, just for the sake of time and truthfulness. And then, if a tie is still obtained by this metric, they'll play a match until a difference is made. And the Devour Hope clause, killing a survivor with Devour Hope will add maximum points to the hook counter. Okay? So that's it. It's a very, very simple rule set. It's more about what you can't bring in than what you can. And I think that is important. It's more about all the things that you can't do. Because all in all, the game in its form does not need much help in being competitive. It really doesn't. You just gotta weed out the bullshit. And I think this community has a hard time agreeing on what bullshit is. Because I think killing yourself on hook is bullshit to win the match. I think that's bullshit. What happened to Oates at the best of the best was bullshit. And this is this is a time-tested model for rule set. The Identity V rule set is a very time-tested rule set. They've had many tournaments using it, and they have an MMR system based around it, and it's a complete success. There is no reason why we can't strive to do something like this for our tournament rule set. And if you like this video, please share it with people. I don't ask for shares often, but this is something that the game needs to be promoted. I would love to do a tournament on this channel. I don't have the sub count and I don't have the views for it, but I would love to fucking watch and commentate on a tournament on this channel. I really would. And if you like this rule set, please, I want to do something with it. Just share the video, and well, if you are interested, contact me. We can try to set something up.